What happens when a highly skilled female ICE truck driver is ambushed by the ruthless Mexican cartel, only to reveal she's not the easy target they thought she was? What if the woman they chose to mess with holds a secret from her past that could flip the entire situation on its head? This is the moment Rachel Torres, an unassuming truck driver, will face an ambush that will change everything she knew about herself and the world around her. It was just another routine day on the job. The sun slowly began to set, painting the sky in a deep orange hue, casting a calm but eerie light over the desolate highway. Rachel Torres was behind the wheel of a federal ICE transport truck, making her way through an empty stretch of road. The truck wasn't just carrying any cargo. It was packed with high-value cartel prisoners, dangerous men who had evaded the law for too long and were being taken to a maximum security detention facility. She'd driven these routes before, and the weight of the situation had never felt heavier. But tonight something felt different. Her instincts kicked in as she scanned the horizon, sensing danger lurking in the shadows. Rachel had seen her fair share of dangerous situations over the years. As a seasoned truck driver for ICE, she was used to navigating perilous roads, ensuring that dangerous criminals were safely transported. But the men in the back of her truck weren't just criminals. They were cartel members, ruthless and powerful, with an empire built on fear. Rachel knew the risks. She had to stay alert, stay focused, because even the smallest mistake could cost lives. Yet tonight she couldn't shake the feeling that something was off, that this drive might be the most dangerous one yet. As the truck rumbled down the quiet road, the sky darkened and Rachel's fingers tightened around the steering wheel. She tried to push away the nagging sense of unease, but it followed her like a shadow, growing stronger with every mile. And then, just as she passed a bend in the road, she saw them. The cartel's ambush had already begun. Motorcycles roared from behind, closing in fast. A group of men on bikes surrounded the truck, their weapons drawn. Rachel's pulse quickened, but she didn't panic. She knew how to handle herself. The cartel thought they were dealing with just another unarmed, vulnerable driver, but Rachel wasn't what they expected. She wasn't just some random transport driver. What they didn't know, and what Rachel wasn't about to show them yet, was that she had a secret, a past that could destroy their entire operation. As the cartel members closed in, taunting her and demanding she pull over, Rachel's mind raced. The men outside her truck had no idea who they were messing with. The moment was coming, the moment where Rachel would reveal that not only did she have the skills to survive, but that she could take on a cartel with nothing but her wits, her training, and her undeniable will to win. The truck's tires screeched as she took a sharp turn, trying to shake them off. But Rachel knew that in a fight like this, it wouldn't be just about driving. It was about surviving. And she was more than ready. Rachel's heart raced as the roar of motorcycles echoed in the distance. At first she thought it might be another vehicle passing by, but the sound grew louder, closer. Her instincts, honed over years of navigating treacherous routes, told her something was wrong. She quickly glanced in her rearview mirror and saw them, a pack of cartel gunmen, led by the infamous Miguel El Diablo Ruiz, closing in fast. Rachel's pulse spiked. She'd heard the rumors about El Diablo, ruthless, unyielding, and known for his strategic brilliance. What she didn't know was that this ambush had been meticulously planned. The cartel had tracked her every move for days, studying her route and patiently waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Their goal was clear: free their imprisoned allies and take out the only obstacle standing between them and their freedom: Rachel and her truck. Suddenly the truck jolted as motorcycles surrounded it, revving their engines in a menacing display of force. Rachel's eyes widened as the armored vehicles pulled up on either side, blocking any chance of escape. Before she could even react, gunfire erupted, the sound deafening as bullets pelted the truck's metal frame. The road ahead was blocked, and there was no way out. They were closing in, and it looked like there was no hope. But Rachel wasn't a helpless victim. Her heart might be racing, but her mind was calm, focused. The military training she tried to forget flooded back to her, as if the years of service and the missions she had survived had never left her. She slammed her foot down on the gas pedal, swerving the truck as best as she could, dodging bullets that whizzed by her windows. The sound of gunfire was relentless, but Rachel's hands were steady on the wheel, guiding the massive vehicle with precision. Her reflexes were sharp, her movements deliberate as she maneuvered the truck like a trained driver, weaving through the chaos. The cartel gunmen were so focused on the truck, they didn't anticipate her next move. Rachel took a sharp left turn, sending the truck skidding across the gravel road, narrowly avoiding a barrage of bullets aimed at her tires. The armored vehicles followed, but they were too slow, too predictable. As Rachel's heart pounded in her chest, she realized something: the cartel had underestimated her. They thought she was just a simple truck driver, a cog in the machine, but what they didn't know was that she was a force to be reckoned with, trained, experienced, and ready to fight. And as the cartel continued their attack, Rachel knew it was time to show them exactly what she was capable of. The truck came to a screeching halt, the tires skidding against the rough road as Rachel fought to regain control of the vehicle. The sounds of the motorcycle's engines and the distant clanking of metal were growing louder, signaling that the cartel was closing in. She had nowhere left to run. With the truck now boxed in and the cartel members surrounding her, the situation had escalated from a high-speed chase to a deadly standoff. El Diablo, the leader of the cartel, swaggered toward the truck, a cocky grin plastered across his face. He was confident, almost amused by the situation. In his mind, Rachel was just another driver, an easy target. His men had the upper hand. They had her trapped, and there was no way she could escape now. As he approached the front of the truck, he gave her a mock salute before speaking, his voice dripping with arrogance. "Surrender now, Senora. It's over. You don't stand a chance," he ordered, waving his hand dismissively as his gunmen spread out, taking their positions around the truck. Rachel could hear the sneer in his voice, but she wasn't fazed. Her breath was steady, and her mind was clear. Despite the overwhelming odds, she remained calm. There was no fear in her eyes, no sign of panic. The intensity of the situation didn't shake her for a second. Instead, she locked eyes with El Diablo, her gaze unwavering. "You're about to regret this," she said, her voice low but filled with quiet confidence. The words hung in the air, and for a moment El Diablo stopped. The cocky grin faded slightly, replaced with a hint of confusion. He had expected resistance, sure, but he never anticipated that she would speak with such certainty. Then in one smooth motion, Rachel slowly pulled off her jacket, revealing the tactical gear underneath. As she unzipped the top layer, her actions were deliberate, controlled, her every movement calculated. The cartel members watched closely, unsure of what was coming next. Rachel's calm demeanor only added to the tension, and they were all waiting, wondering what she was about to do. As the jacket fell to the ground, Rachel's arm revealed a distinctive patch, a Special Forces insignia. Her hand rested on it briefly, a subtle but powerful gesture. A tattoo on her forearm caught the light, a symbol of her past, marking her as something far more than just a truck driver. She was a former Delta Force operative. A wave of shock rippled through the cartel members as they realized who they were dealing with. The smile from El Diablo's face completely disappeared, replaced by a flicker of hesitation. His eyes narrowed as he processed what had just happened. The woman in front of him wasn't just some random civilian. She was a trained lethal warrior, someone who had seen and survived battles that most people could never imagine. And now they were about to face the consequences of underestimating her. Rachel stood tall, her posture shifting from that of a simple truck driver to a battle-hardened soldier. Her expression was resolute, and she had no intention of backing down. This standoff was far from over, and she was ready to take control. The cartel had made a grave mistake, and now Rachel was about to make them regret it. The moment Rachel revealed her true identity, the air thickened with tension. The cartel was caught off guard, and for just a split second, their confidence wavered. That brief hesitation was all Rachel needed. As the men around her processed what they had just seen, she moved like a shadow, slipping behind the massive truck for cover. In a swift motion, she drew her weapon, her fingers moving with precision as she lined up her first shot. The first cartel member to approach was caught completely off guard, as Rachel took him down with a single well-placed shot. His body dropped to the ground before his comrades even had time to react. The moment was electric. The cartel was no longer in control, and their hesitation turned into confusion. They had underestimated her, but now they were paying the price. As Rachel moved quickly between the truck and the wreckage, she used every bit of her environment to her advantage, constantly staying one step ahead. She picked them off one by one, her shots accurate and deadly. Her military training, years of elite Delta Force service, was now fully on display. Rachel wasn't just a driver, and she wasn't just a woman trying to survive this ambush. She was a force of nature, executing every move with the practiced skill of someone who had spent years in life or death situations. Each time the cartel thought they had a shot at her, she was gone, repositioning, adapting, staying unpredictable. With every passing second, the cartel's situation grew worse. Rachel wasn't just fighting with brute force, she was using the battlefield itself as her weapon. She knew exactly where the cartel would move next, anticipating their every action. The trucks provided an obstacle course for the cartel members who attempted to advance. They were used to overwhelming force, not the tactical genius of someone like Rachel, who moved swiftly and silently through the chaos. She had their attention, but that wasn't enough. She needed to keep them guessing. The sound of gunfire echoed through the desert, but Rachel's silence as she repositioned made her more terrifying than anything they had encountered before. The mental game was in full swing. While the cartel tried to focus their fire on her position, Rachel was already laying traps, setting up distractions. She used the environment, dust, debris, and the trucks themselves to create confusion. She knew the importance of misdirection, keeping the cartel guessing. For every shot they took at her, there was a delay, a beat, where Rachel's next move remained a mystery. Rachel wasn't just surviving, she was taking control of the situation. She was turning the tables on the cartel, making them realize that this wasn't the easy target they had expected. They were now in her domain, and she was the one calling the shots. It was no longer just about firepower, it was a battle of wits, and Rachel was playing it masterfully. She had outsmarted them at every turn, and they were starting to feel the pressure. What had begun as an ambush was now a high-stakes game, and Rachel Torres, former Delta Force operative, was in charge. The cartel, now realizing the mistake they had made in underestimating Rachel, quickly regrouped. El Diablo's face twisted with anger as he barked orders to his men, demanding that they escalate their assault. They weren't just going to overpower her anymore. Now they needed to eliminate her, no matter the cost. They tried to flank her, sending men from different angles in hopes of catching her off guard. But Rachel was already prepared, using her intimate knowledge of the area and the terrain to stay one step ahead. She ducked behind the cover of the truck, using its bulk to her advantage. The dust and debris from the ongoing battle worked in her favor, giving her just enough time to reposition. The cartel's assault became more frantic as they tried to adjust, but Rachel's tactical advantage, honed through years of military service, made her an unpredictable target. For every movement the cartel made, Rachel had already anticipated it, and she struck back with precision. As the battle raged on, the moment everyone had been waiting for arrived. El Diablo, realizing that his men were failing and their plan was crumbling, broke away from the group. He marched toward Rachel, eyes filled with rage, determined to take her down himself. The others hesitated, knowing the stakes were higher than ever. This was no longer just about saving prisoners. It was about taking down a woman who had turned the tide of the battle. Rachel watched him approach, her breathing steady, her hands firm on her weapon. The fight that was about to unfold wasn't just physical. It was about sending a message, not just to the cartel, but to anyone who thought they could take her on. She steadied herself, mentally preparing for what was coming next. As El Diablo reached her, he sneered and tried to strike first. The cartel leader's moves were fast, but Rachel's years of combat experience had prepared her for this exact moment. With swift precision, she dodged his strike and countered, disarming him in a single motion. El Diablo's surprise was evident as he staggered back, but Rachel didn't give him the chance to regain his composure. A brief but intense hand-to-hand combat ensued. El Diablo fought with the fury of a man who had underestimated his opponent, but Rachel was calm and controlled, using his anger against him. Each move was calculated, and in a matter of moments, Rachel had subdued him, expertly locking him into a hold that ensured he could no longer escape. Rachel stood tall over the defeated cartel leader, her breath steady and measured. The fight was over, and El Diablo had been neutralized. She called for backup, her voice calm as she radioed in the authorities, letting them know that the cartel's operation had been stopped and that the threat had been eliminated. The danger was over, and the day was won. The cartel members who remained, seeing their leader defeated and realizing that Rachel had no intention of backing down, slowly began to retreat. Rachel had proven herself not just as a truck driver, but as a fierce warrior who wasn't afraid to face even the most dangerous of enemies head-on. With the cartel neutralized, Rachel could finally breathe easy, knowing she had not only completed her mission, but had done so with unmatched skill and determination. As the first signs of dawn light up the horizon, the sound of approaching sirens grows louder. The authorities have arrived. Rachel watches as law enforcement officers swarm the area, swiftly apprehending the remaining cartel members who hadn't managed to flee. Their faces are filled with disbelief as they're handcuffed and taken into custody, and Rachel can finally relax, knowing her work is done. Her quick thinking, combined with her elite training, had been the key to bringing down the dangerous operation, and it wasn't lost on anyone. The weight of the battle gradually begins to lift off Rachel's shoulders, but she's not one for celebrations. As the sun rises higher, casting a warm glow over the wreckage of the ambush site, Rachel takes a moment to reflect. The danger she faced just hours ago, the strength she had to summon to fight back, and the endless calculations she made to outsmart the cartel, it all starts to settle in. She's always been prepared for the worst, but this time, the stakes were personal. Still, as the adrenaline fades, Rachel feels a sense of pride well up inside her. Despite the odds, despite everything, she'd emerged victorious. Her past had been the lifeline she needed to survive, and it would always be there, ready to protect her when the next challenge arrived. With the last of the cartel members now taken into custody, and the immediate danger neutralized, Rachel looks toward the horizon. The calm after the storm is welcome, but she knows deep down that the peace won't last. There will always be more missions, more threats, more moments when she'll need to call on the skills and experience that make her who she is. Whether it's another cartel ambush, a new mission, or whatever challenges the future holds, Rachel knows that she'll always be ready. The world may change, but her determination will remain constant. As the first light of the new day washes over the landscape, Rachel turns and walks away from the wreckage, her mind already focused on the next step. She's proven herself today, but she knows there will always be more work to do. And when the next call comes, she'll answer it, because no matter what, Rachel Torres is always ready. As the dust settles and Rachel takes a breath, she's reminded once again of the strength that lies in perseverance and preparation. The events of the past few hours may be over, but her journey is far from finished. The battles may vary, but the spirit of a true warrior never fades. If you enjoyed this thrilling story and want to see more moments where the underestimated rise up, make sure to subscribe to our channel. You won't want to miss the next chapter of Rachel's journey, and who knows, the next time she might face an even greater challenge. Stay tuned for more heart-pounding action, unforgettable moments, and unbreakable spirits. Hit that subscribe button and join us for the next chapter in Rachel's relentless fight for justice.